What's up, you guys? Vladi B here with another video on how to run that successful business. In this video, you're going to learn on how to set yearly, monthly, and weekly goals, as well as how to break them down into more achievable, measurable metrics. We are also going to talk about how to communicate those goals to your team if you got one. So if you follow the advice in this video, you're going to have a much more successful business. The key here is to actually do it. In my previous video, I was talking about 5 fundamental principles that you need to have in your business in order to build that strong foundation and have a successful business. So if you haven't checked that one out, please check this one out as well. There are a lot of points to take away from that video as well. So let's start with a strong like button smash and get right into it. So let's first of all talk about the plan, which is essentially your whole strategy. The first part about a plan is to figure out what our goals are. What are we trying to achieve? So let's say we are here in January of 2021, which is right now, and we are trying to decide what will be our goals. What are we trying to achieve this coming year, or what are we trying to achieve or accomplish this year in the new year? Ideally, you want to have that conversation or that discussion with your team in the end of the year. So let's say in December of 2020, you would have them sit down and discuss that so that you have a clear plan and goals set for 2021. But if you are just starting to do that now, it's definitely better a little bit later than never. So what we are doing is we're trying to decide on what we want to achieve in terms of profits, in terms of our sales, the number of customers we're going to need to achieve all that, and how are we going to do it. So ideally what we have to do is we have to set the goals, then break them down into yearly, monthly, and weekly goals, and then have a daily plan on how are we going to achieve each one of those goals. Let me give you one example of this to make it, to put it into perspective. Let's say you want to achieve, say 1,000 customers this year. That would be a yearly goal that you would set with your team. Now that 1,000 customers, that is our yearly goal, has to be broken down into a monthly goal, which is about 83 customers a month, because we have 12 months. Now, if you have 12 months, let's say there are on average about 22 working days in a month. That means that 22 working days, 83 customers a month, that gives us about 4 customers that we need to get each day in order to achieve our goal of having 1,000 new customers by the end of this year. Now, in a perfect world, we know that it takes about 20 calls to get one customer, 20 phone calls outbound from your office. Now you know that if you need 4 a day, well, 4 times 2 is 8, so you need to make 80 phone calls a day to get those 4 customers, and if you follow that, you have a really good chance of getting there. Now, of course, you have to make sure you have everything else set in place. What are you calling them for and why? What do you have to offer? And as long as you have something good to offer, you're gonna have guaranteed customers. So this is an extremely simplified example of having a yearly goal and then breaking it down into monthly, weekly, and even daily actions to achieve that goal. And the cool thing is that any goal can be broken down that way. Every goal that you have has a step-by-step process, almost like a formula that you need to follow in order for you to achieve that goal. I hope you're still following, and if you are still here and you got to this point, please smash that like button for me and let's move right on. Now, once you have your goals set in place, you need to communicate those goals with your team if you got one, and even if you're working on your own by yourself, you have to place them everywhere around you. You have to write them down in big letters and post it on the walls, put it on the whiteboard around the office or your room if you're working from home, and then have them visible on the daily in front of you. And I will tell you why you need to do that in a little bit. Once the goals are clear and are in front of you, it is time to break them down into groups, and there are generally 3 groups. There will be goals that are must do. Those things are essential and vital for the survival of your business. If you don't do those, your business goes down or goes bankrupt. Then there are need to do goals. This is the second group, and those goals are not as vital, but they're beneficial for your company. So this would be something like getting those extra customers. If you already achieved your 1,000 and you can get another 200 and there's a way to do that, well, you kind of need to do it because the more customers you have, the better for your business. But if you already achieved your 1000, your business is going to be okay. Those need to do goals can be something that is not as essential for the survival of the business. However, they're still extremely important. For example, managing your inventory properly, because you need to do it. It's maybe you might be okay not doing it for a little while, but eventually it's going to get to the point where it's going to have to be done. And then there's the third group, which I call the snooze group. And the reason is because those are the tasks that it would be nice to get done, but they're not essential, and nothing is going to happen to your business in a bad way if they're not done. Now remember, I said that it's important to post your goals around your office for everybody to see if you are working with a team. The nice thing about working with a team is that when people constantly seeing those goals in front of them, they're actually going to come up with ideas for you to achieve those goals and bring those ideas to you. And even if you are just there by yourself, you're constantly looking at your goals. The good thing about constantly looking at them is that you don't forget. Because if you have good goals in mind, but we don't write them down, we forget. It's very easy to just forget, and a year goes by, and then you wonder why you didn't achieve that goal. Well, it's just because you didn't write it down and didn't look at it constantly, didn't come back to it, reevaluate it. So it's important to have it right there. Now, when people bring those ideas to you, you got to do two things with those ideas. First of all, you have to sort them out into the proper group. For example, is that idea specifically going to go into the must-do group, or is it going to go into the need-to-do or the snooze? Maybe it's an idea that's to improve something that is not vital right now. We have different issues in the company, and we need to concentrate our time and energy for the other thing that is a problem, and not for those little things that are a snooze. The second thing you got to do is you got to praise people for giving you those ideas. You got to give them some constructive criticism if the idea is not the best, and you got to definitely give them recognition for giving those ideas to you, because if all you're going to do is be negative about ideas, never listen to people and just disregard every idea, and all you're going to do is say that it's not a good idea right now, people are going to get discouraged and they're going to stop bringing those ideas to you. And that's a huge disadvantage. Now, once the ideas are all sorted out into the groups, then you sit down with your team, you do a meeting with your team, and you discuss those ideas with them and see what's going to work, what's not going to work, how to implement it, etc. Now, what are you doing next? Once you have the goals in place as well as a plan, you gotta act. You gotta start doing those things that you planned to do. And how are you going to see that the company is actually doing any progress? You have to measure everything that you do and everything that everybody else does in your company. So you have to pretty much measure every individual employee within your organization to make sure that they are keeping up with what's called the KPI, which is the key performance indicator. Those are extremely important numbers that you need to look at. Vital metrics, numbers that tell you whether your business is doing good or not so good. And each position within your team has its own metrics that you need to measure. For example, if you're a contractor and you have technicians as well as office staff, or a call center, your technicians have one set of KPIs, key performance indicators, and your office staff, your call center, has a different set of KPIs. For example, the technicians' KPIs will be how many jobs they sell, and then your customer service numbers are how many phone calls they made and how many calls were actually put on schedule from those phone calls that they made. So everybody and everything that is responsible to making progress within your company has to be measured. In order to measure accurately, what you need to do is you need to have reports. You gotta create a reporting system. Usually in a big organization, you would like to hire someone. For example, in my company, I hired somebody who is going to do the reports, but I was the one who had to create the reports, because I need to tell the person those are the reports that need to be filled out. You have to show them. You have to already have a system in place. Unless you're hiring a person with that experience who can help you create those reports, if you don't know how to do them on your own. Now, those numbers in the reports, if they're built right, will tell you everything about your company, where your company is at, and even each individual employee is going to tell you where they're standing, how efficient they are, how productive they are, and if they're keeping up with their deadlines. And once we see that people are actually being productive and doing their jobs, what good company doesn't reward their employees for that good work, for the hard work? You have to always measure people that outperform others or even themselves, and those people that underperform. So those people that outperform and do everything that is expected of them and even some more on top of that, they need to be rewarded. There's got to be some kind of bonus system or spiffs, even something in writing that says thank you for your hard work is better than nothing. A gift card, something simple. It doesn't have to be huge. You don't have to give $1,000 bonus if your company is not that big, but even giving a $50 or $100 gift card to a restaurant or any other store of that you know the employee likes, it's a huge deal because it makes them feel good. It makes them feel like you care about them, and that's really important to keeping them motivated. So that's why it's important. And on the other side of that note, we have the underperformers. Now those people, we have to have a talk with them. We have to sit them down and we have to have a discussion why they're underperforming. Maybe there's something wrong with the company. Maybe you're not giving them the right tools to work with, or maybe they're just not the right person for you. Now I gotta give you one tip that is extremely important to running your business, and you may have heard it before, but I personally learned it the hard way. You need to be super slow at hiring people, but super fast at firing them. Be extremely picky with who you're hiring, and don't give too many second chances to people. Once you see any red flags or any unwanted behavior, I can assure you there is a 99% chance that this unwanted behavior is going to repeat. And lastly, you have to make sure that you review your goals and your progress, not only monthly or yearly, but actually weekly. And this will be the key to your success. If you wait a whole month until you do that first review of your progress and where you're at, you're gonna have so many problems accumulated that it's gonna be just too much stress to handle. It's gonna be too much. So don't procrastinate with that one and get yourself into the habit of reviewing everything weekly. As soon as you're gonna see some problems, you gotta find the source of the issue and quickly eliminate it and then try again. So you do it for another week and then you review it again. You may have less problems, you may have some new problems come up, but if you wait a whole month, you can see how it's gonna be too much, right? You're basically giving yourself, instead of reviewing once a month, you're reviewing 4 times. You're giving yourself 4 times the chance to catch any problems before they become huge. So that's how you gotta do it. You gotta review weekly, modify and adjust stuff, try again for another week. Modify, adjust, try again for another week. And until you find that right solution, the right formula for your business, for yourself. So you see how much more productive you can be if you review your goals and progress weekly instead of monthly or yearly. You look at it 4 times a month instead of just once, which means you're giving yourself four extra opportunities to fix problems that may be happening and you don't even know about them. Alrighty guys, so this was a lot of information. I hope you all got something out of it, and I hope you took some notes, and if you didn't, but you feel like you should, you're definitely welcome to replay that video and this time take some good notes. Don't forget to check my video on the core business principles right there, because there are a lot of good points to take away from that video as well. Like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you can see notifications when a new video comes out, and I will see you next time.